Hello, welcome back to the channel. I have a good mix of photographs in this video, but they're all connected by a common theme. We're shooting slow shutter speeds and an intimate landscape, monochrome and colour. The last pictures that I just took were really a bonus because the location that I was trying to get to is right here. We're alongside one of the darts. I think it's the East Dart. And sorry, excuse me, I just had my porridge. Not very good of me on camera. Yeah, we're up beside the one of the East Dart rivers, and what I wanted to do was to capture some of the boulders which are in the middle of the pictures themselves. That's right, Ruby's about to knock the tripod over, and use those to Ruby, come here. Right, we're back. I think we're back. Okay, so what I wanted to do was take some of these photographs along here and use the flow of the water past the boulders as a nice sort of like contrast really, and look at some of the patterns that the water is making, and maybe in some cases just let the water blow out and disappear completely and really make it all about the boulders as well, and really do some long exposure photography. What I also wanted to do was to capture bits of the intimate landscape. So rather than look at the big expanses like we've just looked at in the last photograph, is getting close and look at those details and see what we can make of that as well, because it's another area of photography that I like, but I don't think it's something I maybe blog or do enough of. So we're going to see how it goes. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but predominantly when I get to the point of doing it and I'm shooting long exposure, I'm going to go through my process with you, how I set the camera up and what precautions I take to make sure I get good sharp sort of steady images, what equipment I use, what filters I use, if it's appropriate to do so, and generally go into that in some detail for you. So hopefully you're going to get some good pictures out of it. If nothing else, what you are going to get is a good idea of how I go about my long exposure photography when I'm shooting rivers and things like that as well. If you want to know a bit about what I do with my bulb mode photography when I'm shooting at the coast, for example, then you may want to watch this video here, which I'm going to put up on the screen as well as an example for you for that. So I'm going to finish my coffee, make sure Ruby's happy in whatever she's doing, and start scouting for a few pictures, and I'll get back to you when I've got a composition that I want to share with you and I think is worthy of vlogging and showing you guys. So finish my coffee and see you in a minute. Okay guys, so the rain's coming down now. Unfortunately, it's making vlogging and taking photographs at the same time a little bit difficult, but we're going to do the best that we can. And I'm a bit distracted because Ruby's wandering around a bit. I've got to make sure she doesn't wander off to see any other people or dogs or anything, and I lose her up the side of a hill. So where we are at the moment, first composition is basically working on the flow of water past these rocks. I've got another rock in the foreground, a rock in the background, and then I'm going to let the background hopefully go a little bit blurred or indistinct. We might have to take care of that in processing. So the situation that I've got now is I wanted to make sure that I got the right shutter speed, and the reason for that is we've got lots of bubbles and things moving past these rocks, and what I wanted to do is have those recorded as streaks on the frame. Now to get those recorded properly, it's all about setting the right exposure, the right shutter speed. So what I've done is I've taken a number of pictures, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this or not, at different shutter speeds. Didn't worry about the exposure too much or the aperture, just setting the shutter speeds. And I've decided on 13 seconds at f11 was about right. But that wasn't that good for the exposure. It blew the highlights out. So what I've got to do is control that. So I'm going to take some bracketed exposures around sort of like f11, f16, f13, or whatever it needs to be, just to get the exposure right for me. And then I'll have that picture in the bag. What I've also done is there's quite a lot of reflections on the water and highlights. So I've actually used my polarizing filter to take some of that sheen off the top of the water, and that will help it stand out a bit more. And I've also used a 0.9 graduated filter. So I'm going to take these pictures now, and with a bit of luck, that's what we'll get. So there we go, that one. And we just let that carry on. As always, I'm using a Oh, sorry. As always, I'm using my shutter release when I take my pictures. Just make sure that I don't sort of jog the camera when I take it. You can use a what's I going to say, a self timer, but I prefer to use the shutter release. So where we are now, that's 13th of a second. It's still blowing out those highlights. So we're going to take our aperture down to f16. Make sure it's focused again. Take another picture, 16 seconds, and see what we've got. I have already taken some pictures whilst I was setting the camera up and getting ready to vlog this, so it might well be that I don't use the ones I'm taking now because I've already recorded them at a range of different apertures, but for the purposes of what you're doing, you're going to see about the same. So let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at this information. I think that is enough for me right now. So that's it. This picture's in the bag. Time to look at the next one. Well, I've just been taking this second composition. I found a boulder similar to the last one but further up the stream, and you would have seen it just now behind me, but I might put it up again in between this voiceover. But basically it's got a lot more faster moving water around it, a lot more drama and a lot more action in the water, shall we say. I was hoping that that would contrast nicely with the boulder. Now my original compositions here, it's just not working exactly as well as I'd hoped it to. Now, when you get it back on the camera, back at home on the computer screen, sometimes things look a lot better. And when you process your images as monochrome or colour or whatever you want to use, sometimes it just works out that little bit better. And so it's not always good to dismiss things straight away. So I'm going to try a little bit more. I'm going to go a bit further up. I'm going to go a little bit closer because I wanted to get close into the picture. I want to get close in and get some intimate scenes and very simple pictures that I'm attracted to. And I'm not quite there with that picture. I'm really not quite there. So I think I'm going to have to go and look at something else and see what else I can do. So I'm going to go a bit further up and see if I can get a bit closer. And I think if I can get closer and lower and fill the frame a bit more, it might just give me something much better, much more than what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's be perfectly honest, both of these monochrome photographs kind of worked for me, but they weren't quite getting to the intimate landscape I wanted to capture. That sort of photography takes time to develop. You need to engage all your senses, and after a while you start to notice things you had previously missed. Well, I'm hoping that this is going to be a photograph that grows on me. Because I've struggled with it quite a bit, to be honest, to get the composition exactly how I want it. And it's because I had a preconceived idea in my mind that these leaves in the foreground had to be sharp with the water flowing past them. The problem is the leaves, the base of the tree, or the branch, should I say, is actually in the water. So the leaves are actually moving. And what that basically means is that whilst I'm trying to take the picture, there's absolutely no way I'm going to get them sharp. I have thought about blending a sharp picture of the leaves with the background, but the problem is that the water flowing underneath will probably then be sharper than I want it to be, and I think it's going to be too difficult, not impossible, but too difficult for me to actually process. So the way that I'm going about doing this at the moment is to actually just go with the whole thing moving. So there's nothing in this picture which is still at all. We've got the flowing water and we've got the leaves. But when I look at it and I look at it again on the back of the camera, what I actually tend to realise is that, you know, having all that motion in the frame isn't so bad. I've used a polarizing filter again so that the water behind it is nice and contrasty, and there's plenty of dark in it, and you've got the whites and the blacks of the water and the leaves against it, so it's caught those colours as well. So yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with it. I'm not going to know exactly how I'm going to feel about it until I get it back home and whether or not it works for me. But we'll have a look, we'll see what happens, and with a bit of luck, that'll be it. I'm going to move on to what I think might be another photograph, maybe not. We're starting to get a bit wet now, so I think we're almost at the point of my creativity being exhausted, and it might be time to pack up and move on. But I'm going to have a look at maybe one or two more pictures, and we'll see where we go from there. But we're having a great day. We're getting some great images and really enjoying it. So I'm going to pack up, move on, and see you guys in a minute. Well, after taking this photograph, I started to hike back to the car park. But I wasn't yet satisfied and hoped to find more. Now in tune with the intimate details and with an open mind, I stumbled across another scene that had some real possibility. The thing with the intimate landscape is that it's very personal. It's your photography. Nobody else has ever taken these pictures. Okay, maybe similar ones, but not these. They're from a deeper place within you and therefore unique. So I get it. If you don't like the last image and the one coming up now, then I'm perfectly okay with that. This was my moment in time, not yours. What I do hope is you get out and give it a go. I have simple aims with this channel, to pass on my knowledge, passion and skills to the photographic community. I can't do that without likes and subscriptions from you. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. It will really help the channel. And if you want to subscribe, I'll be delighted to have you on board.